Most people hear about detachment as if it's a spiritual commandment. Let it go, and it will come. They repeat it like a mantra, but inside they are confused. Because how do you let go of something that means everything to you? How do you stop caring about love when love is what your heart craves most? How do you feel indifferent toward abundance when scarcity keeps you up at night? The paradox is painful. You're told that caring too much blocks manifestation, yet pretending not to care feels fake. You're caught between desire and denial. And so you oscillate one day visualizing passionately, the next trying to convince yourself you don't need it anymore. You call that detachment, but really, it's emotional exhaustion. Here's the truth: most teachers skip. It's impossible to stop caring about something that's tied to your expansion. Because desire isn't greed, it's guidance. The soul desires what it's ready to embody. When you desire something deeply, it's life showing you your next identity. It's not asking you to erase the feeling, it's asking you to refine it. You were never meant to stop caring. You were meant to care differently. Not with desperation, but with devotion. Not with fear, but with faith. Detachment isn't an erasure of emotion, it's a reorientation of energy. It's shifting from "I hope it happens" to "I know who I am" even before it happens. Let's dismantle a dangerous misconception. Many people equate detachment with emotional suppression. They think detachment means cutting off their feelings, acting like they don't want it, or numbing their hopes. That's not detachment, that's self-betrayal disguised as strength. When you suppress emotion, you don't dissolve attachment, you amplify it subconsciously, because what you resist persists. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand indifference, it understands focus. If you say, "I don't care about this anymore," but it's still emotionally charged, your subconscious hears only the energy, not the words. It interprets that as "this is still very important." That's why so many people who let go feel stuck. They're not detached, they're pretending not to care while internally vibrating with longing. True detachment isn't numbness, it's neutrality. And neutrality isn't cold, it's calm. It's that quiet peace that arises when your inner world stops negotiating with the outer world, when your state is no longer dependent on what you see, but on what you believe. In this state, you don't stop desiring, you stop bleeding energy into desire. You're no longer fueled by fear, only by embodiment. The moment you stop trying to detach from the desire and start detaching from doubt, your energy shifts. The chase dissolves. The tension relaxes. You don't stop wanting, you simply start knowing. In its original metaphysical meaning, detachment never referred to lack of care. It meant freedom from identification with the version of you that doesn't have it yet. You don't detach from the desire. You detach from the self that still believes it's missing. Think of it like an actor preparing for a role. The actor doesn't deny the script, they become the character. Their detachment is not from the story, but from their old identity. They step into a new embodiment so convincingly that it becomes real to the audience and to their nervous system. That's what true detachment is in manifestation, a deep surrender of your old self-image. You stop repeating the story that says "I'm someone waiting for it." Instead, you embody "I'm someone living it." And here's the subtle beauty of that transformation. The moment you see yourself differently, your vibration automatically changes. You don't need to trick the universe or hide your feelings. Your energy begins to broadcast certainty instead of craving. Because craving says it's not here yet. Embodiment says it's already mine. This is why people who seem calm about their desires often manifest faster. It's not because they don't care, it's because they've collapsed the gap between self and desire. They no longer perceive it as over there. It's within. It's now. Let's take a closer look at the emotional mechanics of manifestation. Emotion is energy in motion. It's how the universe translates your state into frequency. When you deeply care about something, you're sending out a strong signal. The signal itself is neutral. The problem is not caring too much. The problem is caring from fear. If your caring sounds like, "I need this to feel safe. I'll be happy only when I get it." What if it never happens? Then your caring has turned into resistance. You've tied your worth to the outcome. But if your caring feels like, "This desire excites me. It feels natural that it's on its way. I can already feel the joy of it unfolding. Then your caring becomes creation. The difference lies in emotional direction. Fear contracts energy. Faith expands it. You don't need to detach from emotion. You need to refine it into resonance. When you turn your caring into appreciation, you align your emotional frequency with abundance. You begin to enjoy the desire before it arrives, and that joy magnetizes it faster than any forced detachment ever could. Think of it like this. You don't manifest by rejecting desire. You manifest by elevating desire into certainty. Let's redefine detachment once and for all. Detachment is deep trust in motion. It's the unshakable calm of someone who knows the seed they planted will bloom. They water it, they care for it, but they don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. They don't rush the soil, beg the sunlight, or doubt the process. They trust the natural rhythm of growth. That's detachment. It's the end of internal panic. The moment when your nervous system relaxes because it finally believes this is already unfolding for me. When you reach the state, you're not indifferent. You're peacefully confident. You don't stop thinking about it because it's irrelevant. You think about it because it feels normal. The same way you don't question whether the sun will rise, you just know it will. That's what embodiment feels like. The sun of your reality rises from your inner knowing. The first step to embodying true detachment is radical honesty. You must stop pretending you don't care. Pretending doesn't make you powerful, it makes you energetically fragmented. Admit it. You care. You want it. You desire it. And that's divine. There's nothing unspiritual about wanting love, wealth, peace, or recognition. Desire is the language of evolution. What makes it powerful or painful is the energy behind it. When you say, I desire this because I'm unworthy without it, you suffer. When you say, I desire this because I'm ready to express it, you expand. The difference is self-perception. Detachment is a byproduct of inner wholeness. When you no longer see the desire as a missing piece, but as an expression of your completeness, you automatically detach from the timeline, not the dream. And this is where the magic happens. Life begins to reorganize itself around your certainty. Opportunities appear. People shift. You find yourself in rooms, conversations, and chances that match the energy of the identity you now embody. You didn't stop caring. You just stopped needing. That's true detachment. And it's not cold. It's powerful. Take a deep breath. Reflect on this. Detachment was never meant to make you robotic. It was meant to make you remember who you are. You are not a beggar of reality. You are a builder of it. You are not waiting for proof. You are radiating truth. So the next time someone tells you to stop caring, smile. Because now you know the truth. You can care deeply and still be free. You can want profoundly and still be peaceful. You can embody desire and still be grounded. Because detachment isn't the act of not caring. It's the mastery of caring without collapse.
There's something you must understand about yourself before you ever master manifestation. You are designed to care. Caring is not a weakness. It's an intrinsic function of your energetic system. It's how your consciousness communicates direction. When you care deeply about something, a dream, a vision, a love, a purpose, your soul is saying, this is the next version of me calling. You cannot turn that off, and you're not supposed to. Your care is your compass. What most people call attachment isn't caring, it's confusion. It's when your emotional energy gets tangled in fear and time. It's when you believe caring means clinging, when in truth, caring is how your soul signals expansion. The modern interpretation of detachment tries to override your biology. It tells you to quiet your emotions and mute your passion. But the universe speaks through emotion. Desire is divine data, and your body is the receiver. Every vision you hold, every longing that won't leave you alone is not a sign of lack. It's evidence of alignment waiting to be claimed. You are feeling the pull of a frequency that already exists, and your heart is simply translating it. To stop caring is to block the signal. To embody care consciously is to amplify it with precision. So instead of asking, how can I stop caring? Ask, how can I care differently from the frequency of wholeness instead of wanting? Here's where most people go wrong. They start desiring something, a relationship, a business, a lifestyle, and immediately their mind interprets that desire as proof of separation. The mind whispers, if I want it, it means I don't have it. And that single assumption activates an identity of lack. Suddenly, caring becomes painful. Every thought about the dream reminds you that you don't yet live it. And the deeper you care, the more you feel the distance. You begin to suffer not because you care too much, but because you're caring from the wrong identity. You're caring as the person who is still waiting for the dream, not as the person who's living it. But here's the spiritual paradox. The version of you who already has what you want cares just as deeply, but differently. They care from fulfillment, not from fear. The person who's in love still cares about their partner. The successful entrepreneur still cares about growth. The embodied self still cares, but they're not trying to receive. They're expressing what's already true for them. This means the real work of manifestation isn't killing desire. It's upgrading your identity until caring no longer hurts. When you become the one who already has it, caring becomes nourishment instead of need. It becomes devotion instead of desperation. You no longer care if it happens. You care how beautifully it unfolds. Now let's get practical. How do you move from compulsive caring to embodied caring? How do you stop your desire from feeling like a wound and start making it feel like power? You do it through emotional transmutation. Emotional transmutation means alchemizing your current emotion, even if it's longing, worry, or impatience, into a higher frequency through perspective and embodiment. You don't suppress it, you evolve it. When you feel intense desire, don't run from it, sit with it. Ask it, what are you really trying to show me? You'll find that every powerful desire has a hidden message beneath it. The desire for love often hides the call to feel safe expressing yourself. The desire for wealth often hides the call to embody freedom and power. The desire for recognition often hides the call to validate yourself first. When you extract the essence of the desire, the core emotion it represents, you can begin to embody it right now without waiting for the form. And that's when manifestation accelerates. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to who you're being. For example, if you want love, become someone who generates warmth. If you want wealth, become someone who feels secure and generous. If you want recognition, become someone who recognizes themselves daily. By doing this, you transmute the caring from needing to being. You let emotion elevate into embodiment. You stop reaching for the desire and start radiating it. That's why it's not only possible to care deeply, it's necessary. But you must let that care evolve into confidence. Many people mistake caring for obsession, but obsession is simply caring without grounding. Obsession says, if I don't get this, I'll break. Embodiment says, this is already a part of who I am. When your care lacks grounding, it consumes you. You start checking signs, overanalyzing synchronicities, and doubting the process. Your nervous system becomes the stage for anxiety instead of creation. But when you ground your care in identity, it stabilizes. You don't have to constantly check if it's working. You feel it working through you. Caring without obsession means allowing the desire to exist in your energy field without it hijacking your attention. You hold it lightly, like a precious flame cupped in your hands, not gripped in panic. Let's visualize it. Imagine holding a small flame in your palm. If you grip too tightly, you suffocate it. If you're careless, you lose it. But when you hold it with relaxed presence, the flame thrives. That's what your desire needs, not indifference, but intelligent attention. You visit it daily through imagination, gratitude, and aligned action, but you don't smother it with impatience. That's the difference between an embodied creator and an anxious one. The embodied creator is devoted. The anxious one is desperate. And devotion creates faster. Because devotion is love, and love is the highest creative state there is.
Faith isn't blind hope, it's emotional mastery. It's when your nervous system learns to trust reality before it has proof. You can care deeply and still be in faith. In fact, faith is what allows you to care without suffering, because faith says this feeling means it's already in my field. It's already mine energetically. The human mind likes to measure progress through visibility, but energy operates through belief. If you could measure the unseen progress of your manifestations, you'd never doubt again. So faith becomes your bridge between caring and receiving. You still feel the desire, but you let the desire feel safe in your care. You tell it, I see you. I trust you. You are already becoming me. And in that space, the energy relaxes. And what relaxes releases resistance. And what releases resistance manifests. Faith isn't detachment from caring, it's detachment from controlling. You can't control the how or when, but you can control the who. Who you're being, who you're embodying, who you're believing yourself to be. And once the who aligns, everything else follows. The reason you can't stop caring is because reality is always mirroring your internal state. Whatever identity you hold will seek validation through experience. If you identify as someone waiting for it, your reality will keep giving you more reasons to wait. If you identify as someone who already lives it, your reality starts rearranging itself to match that assumption. So caring becomes your creative power when it's aligned with identity. When you care as the version of you who already has it, your emotion turns magnetic. Let's imagine two people wanting success. One says, I want to be successful so I can finally feel confident. The other says, I'm confident, and that's why success naturally gravitates to me. Both care. But one cares from lack, the other cares from embodiment. And their timelines reflect it. The universe is always listening to who is speaking, not just what is said. To embody something means to make it your energetic default. It's not visualization for 5 minutes, it's living the frequency all day. You don't have to fake it. You just begin to reference reality differently. When you wake up, instead of saying it's not here yet, you say, I'm living in the process of it unfolding. When you face doubt, instead of collapsing, you say, this is just the residue of an old version of me fading away. When you care about the outcome, you remind yourself it's safe to care. It's sacred to care. I just won't confuse caring with craving. Over time, your emotional baseline upgrades. You stop performing belief and start being belief. That's embodiment. And when embodiment stabilizes, manifestation becomes inevitable. Because you're no longer trying to attract it, you've become the attractor itself. Let's close this chapter with a truth few people realize. Your caring is the raw creative energy of the universe expressing through you. To stop caring is to dam the river. To care consciously is to channel it. Every desire that arises in you was placed there with purpose. You are not being teased by the universe, you're being summoned by it. Summoned into growth, expression, and embodiment. So the next time you feel your heart ache for something beautiful, don't push it away. Sit with it. Let it speak. Then rise as the person who already lives it. You don't need to pretend not to care. You just need to care with power instead of panic. That's how you align emotion with embodiment. That's how you turn desire into destiny. Remember this. You were not designed to detach from desire. You were designed to evolve through it. Your desires are sacred invitations. They are the universe's way of expanding itself through you. So don't silence your care, sanctify it. Let it be conscious. Let it be calm. Let it be creative. Because you cannot stop caring. You can only choose how to care, as a seeker or as a creator. And the moment you choose to care as a creator, your entire reality begins to reshape around that truth. There is a sacred tension that exists between wanting something and worshiping it. One liberates you, the other imprisons you. Wanting is natural. Devotion is powerful. But obsession, when fueled by fear, becomes self-torture. Every spiritual teaching about letting go is secretly about learning balance, that thin, invisible line where your energy stops pleading and starts radiating. We call that balance.com obsession. It's the art of desiring something so deeply that it shapes your identity, yet holding it so peacefully that you never lose yourself in the process. It's what artists feel when they're in love with their craft, not for fame, but for expression. It's what inventors feel when they can't stop thinking about an idea, not out of desperation, but out of awe. Calm obsession is passion without panic. It's desire without distortion. It's the recognition that your longing is sacred, but your peace is sacred too. And when you learn to merge the two, your manifestation power becomes unstoppable. Obsession begins with good intentions. You want something so badly that your mind can't stop looping around it. You visualize, affirm, check signs, and repeat. You start to monitor reality for proof, forgetting that proof is supposed to come after belief, not before. You become hyper-aware of the absence of your desire, and that awareness begins to feed itself. Every time you check, you reinforce, it's still not here. That's how obsession becomes a feedback loop, a mental addiction to the illusion of lack. Here's the psychology behind it. When you desire something and feel uncertain about receiving it, your brain releases a mix of dopamine and cortisol, pleasure and stress. This chemical cocktail creates emotional highs and lows, like a slot machine. The moment you see a sign, dopamine surges. When nothing happens, cortisol spikes. You end up addicted to the emotional roller coaster of almost. And manifestation becomes exhausting instead of expansive. But when you enter calm obsession, you break the cycle. You no longer chase dopamine hits of external validation. You shift into the steady rhythm of internal certainty. You stop using your desire to escape the present. You use the present to embody your desire. That's the energetic difference between obsession and creation. Obsession looks for proof. Embodiment is proof. When you care so much that you start tightening your energy around the outcome, you enter resistance. You may not realize it, but the universe feels that tension as an energetic wall. Resistance doesn't mean negativity. It simply means your energy is trying too hard to control timing, form, or certainty. The moment you feel like you must have it, you signal to reality that you don't have it. And that contradiction blocks the flow. To embody without becoming consumed, you must practice the law of non-resistance. It's the spiritual art of staying open, emotionally invested, yet energetically relaxed. Think of it like holding a bird in your palm. If you squeeze too tightly, it suffocates. If you're careless, it flies away. But if you hold it with presence, trust, and love, it stays effortlessly. That's how your desires respond to you. They don't want to be chased. They want to be held in your vibration naturally. Non-resistance is not laziness. It's energetic intelligence. It means you care enough to show up, but you trust enough to step back. You take inspired action without anxious effort. You visualize the outcome without begging for evidence. When your energy becomes soft yet certain, reality begins to bend quietly in your favor. Let's talk about something rarely discussed in manifestation circles: your nervous system. You can't embody your desire if your body doesn't feel safe having it. Your subconscious mind and your nervous system are always in conversation, and if your nervous system associates desire with stress, you'll unconsciously repel it. That's why people sometimes get close to what they want and then self-sabotage. Their body doesn't recognize peace as safe. It's addicted to the anxiety of the chase. Calm obsession retrains your nervous system. It teaches your body to feel safe inside your own dreams. You begin by noticing your physiological cues. When you think about your desire, what happens in your body? Do your shoulders tense? Does your heart race? Do you feel a lump in your throat? That's your nervous system saying this is unfamiliar. Now your work is not to suppress the sensation but to soothe it. Breathe. Anchor. Let the body catch up to the frequency your mind already sees. Once your nervous system feels safe in your desired reality, manifestation stops feeling like a pursuit. It becomes a biological inevitability. Because your body, your instrument of creation, is no longer resisting your own dreams. Here's the spiritual secret that ends obsession forever. All longing is love misdirected. Every time you ache for something, it's not the object you're craving, it's the emotion you think it will give you. Love, peace, freedom, worthiness. When you realize this, you can begin giving that feeling to yourself now. You can practice the energy before the evidence. That's emotional alchemy, transforming longing into love. You no longer say, I'll feel whole when I get it. You say, I feel whole, and that's why it's coming. This shift turns desire into magnetism. Because the universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your frequency. When you radiate love toward your desire instead of fear about it, the magnetic pull between you and that reality intensifies. You're not chasing anymore. You're orbiting each other. And eventually you meet in the middle, the dimension where all creation already exists. Now that you understand the energetic foundation, you must anchor it through daily expression. Embodiment is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. You can't visit the vibration occasionally, you must live in it consistently. Every morning, remind yourself, I'm not waiting for it, I'm becoming it. Walk differently. Speak differently. Make micro-decisions that reflect the version of you who already lives the dream. If it's love you want, love people effortlessly, without fear of rejection. If it's abundance, treat your environment as if it's already luxurious. If it's confidence, make choices that honor your voice, even when it trembles. You can't embody in imagination only, you must embody in behavior. Because your actions communicate to the subconscious what your identity believes, and your identity is the command center of your manifestation. Over time, those microalignments reprogram your energy field. Your care transforms from emotional pressure into energetic presence. You stop chasing experiences and start curating them. This is calm obsession, focused devotion with no frantic edge. When you master calm obsession, you no longer fear loss. Because you finally realize you can't lose what you've become. Attachment always fears the absence of something. But embodiment knows, even if the specific form shifts, the energy remains within me. When you embody wealth, losing money doesn't shake you, you attract more. When you embody love, rejection doesn't destroy you, you magnetize better connections. When you embody confidence, failure doesn't define you, it refines you. That's ultimate detachment, not indifference but indestructibility. You stop protecting outcomes and start protecting your state. Because you understand that your vibration, your peace, your embodiment, that's the true possession. And from that state, everything external becomes flexible. You no longer need to manipulate. You just need to be. If calm obsession had a vibration, it would sound like a steady heartbeat, rhythmic, alive, certain. You can recognize this energy in people who are magnetic without trying. They care deeply about what they do, but they're not chasing approval. They're rooted. Their presence says, I am already the thing I seek. This is the vibration of embodiment, not emotional highs and lows, but a stable frequency of certainty. When you reach this energetic signature, manifestations come faster, not because you're trying harder, but because you're no longer contradicting yourself. Your words, emotions, and actions speak one language. It is done. And the universe always responds to coherence. The final stage of detachment is integration, the merging of passion and peace. You don't need to pick one. You don't need to suppress fire to find stillness. The highest form of embodiment is the harmony of both. It's when your heart burns with desire but your mind rests in faith. It's when your care flows like water, not fire, steady, certain, nourishing. You still want it. You still visualize it. You still love the idea of it, but it no longer controls you. It inspires you. You live as if it's already part of your essence, not your escape. And in that state, manifestation becomes effortless, not because you detached, but because you align. That is calm obsession. That is divine embodiment. There's a metaphor I want you to remember. You are a flame, not a flicker that burns out when the wind changes, a steady, eternal flame that stays centered even when the world moves around it. When you embody your desires through calm obsession, you become that flame. You care deeply, but you don't waver. You desire passionately, but you don't doubt. You live with open hands, not clenched fists. That's when the universe recognizes you, not as a beggar of dreams, but as a mirror of creation itself. You no longer ask, when will it come? You smile and say, it already has. I'm just catching up to the version of me that always had it. And in that serene knowing, all things gravitate to you. Not because you forced them, but because you became the frequency that holds them effortlessly. So care deeply. Desire boldly. But stay still in your knowing. That's how you embody without being consumed. That's how you love without losing yourself. That's how you manifest